be psychedelic thing, and I said we have to do that some more. So this is what's come out of it. But yeah, it sounds.
In the gritty underground clubs of London's punk revolution, there prowled a rock and roll assassin with standards as razor sharp as her guitar riffs. Chrissie Hynde, the Ohio-born punk priestess who conquered British music with fierce attitude and uncompromising vision, wasn't just a groundbreaking artist who proved women could front rock bands with devastating power.
People just want to, it's about the sound, and as long as everyone's sounding like they want to sound, everyone's happy with that.
She was also a woman who nursed some brutal hatred toward musicians she considered fraudulent sellouts. The Akron native behind blistering anthems like Brass in Pocket and Back on the Chain Gang was notorious for her take-no-prisoners approach to music and her merciless criticism of phony rock posturing. An unforgiving nature that apparently targeted several high-profile artists who crossed her strict authenticity guidelines. Rock music should come from the streets and mean something real, Hynde allegedly snarled at a journalist in 1982. These plastic, fantastic wannabes have turned rebellion into a fashion statement for suburban kids who wouldn't know real danger if it bit them. Welcome to another episode of Offstage Tales, where today we're unleashing the vicious side of Chrissie Hynde and the 6 musicians who reportedly earned her legendary wrath. From club confrontations to backstage battles, Hynde's wars with these artists reveal brutal conflicts over musical credibility, authentic rebellion versus manufactured edge, and what it truly means to rock with genuine conviction. So crank up those distorted amps and prepare for carnage, because we're counting down the 6 musicians who allegedly made Chrissie Hynde absolutely murderous. 6. Billy Idol. Kicking off our countdown at number 6 is a bombshell that will leave you stunned. Billy Idol. Yes, the sneering punk-turned-pop star with his platinum blonde hair and rebel yell anthems reportedly earned Chrissie Hynde's savage contempt during his transformation from London punk scene regular to MTV superstar in the early 1980s.
So it was we were in Japan, and it was Saturday Night Fever time. There wasn't really any rock disco.
The hostility reportedly ignited after Idol's explosive solo career took off in 1982, leaving behind his punk roots with Generation X for mainstream American success. According to NME photographer Penny Smith, Hynde reportedly unleashed her fury on fellow London musicians at a Camden pub. Billy thinks spiky hair and a leather jacket automatically make him dangerous. The bloke sold out faster than concert tickets, trading genuine punk rebellion for teenage girl screams and video rotation. What absolutely enraged Hynde wasn't simply Idol's commercial breakthrough, but his complete abandonment of punk's core principles. While Hynde remained committed to authentic working-class rebellion and meaningful social commentary, Idol was achieving massive fame with what Hynde reportedly called cartoon punk for American mall kids. Sanitized rebellion that, in Hynde's uncompromising worldview, betrayed everything the movement originally represented. The feud allegedly escalated during a London club encounter where witnesses claim Hynde refused to acknowledge Idol's presence, reportedly telling her bandmates about her disgust with punk turncoats who traded credibility for American dollars and teenage adoration. 5. George Michael. Sliding into number 5 is a clash that exposed the brutal divide between authentic artistry and manufactured pop perfection. George Michael, the Wham. Heartthrob turned into a solo sensation with his polished vocals and carefully crafted image.
Very strange experience for me because Freddie had died.
Reportedly became one of Chrissie Hynde's most despised examples of everything wrong with 1980s music industry manipulation. The animosity reportedly developed during the mid-1980s when George Michael was dominating global charts with his transition from bubblegum pop duo to serious solo artist. According to melody maker-writer Steve Sutherland, Hynde reportedly vented her disgust to punk scene veterans at a Notting Hill record shop. George thinks crooning about faith and freedom makes him some kind of deep artist. The man's entire career is built on focus group-tested emotions and choreographed sensitivity designed to sell records to housewives and teenagers. the brutal assessment allegedly spread through London's alternative music community faster than gossip at a pub closing time. What particularly disgusted Hynde wasn't just Michael's commercial success, but his calculated approach to emotional authenticity. While Hynde was pouring genuine life experiences into raw punk compositions about real struggle and defiance, George Michael was achieving superstardom with what Hynde reportedly called manufactured vulnerability, polished ballads that, in Hynde's streetwise perspective, exploited people's feelings through market research rather than genuine human connection. Real emotion can't be focus grouped and packaged like breakfast cereal, Hynde allegedly told a London radio DJ in 1987, obviously referencing the pop production machine. When every tear and every passion is calculated for maximum commercial impact, you're not making music anymore. You're making emotional manipulation. The conflict allegedly peaked during a British Music Awards afterparty where witnesses claim Hynde walked away when someone praised Michael's artistic evolution. 4. Phil Collins. Crashing into number 4 is perhaps the most commercially motivated hatred on our list. Phil Collins, the Genesis drummer turned solo megastar with his gated reverb sound and confessional ballads, reportedly drove Chrissie Hynde to absolute fury with his transformation from progressive rock musician into adult contemporary chart dominator during the 1980s. The conflict allegedly intensified after Collins achieved massive success.
You know, you want me to do my job? I'll do my job, you know? That's the thing.
With his divorce-themed album Face Value and subsequent MTV-friendly hits. According to Q magazine editor Matt Snow, Hynde reportedly exploded at fellow musicians at a London recording studio. Phil thinks wallowing in his personal problems makes him some kind of sensitive artist. He's turned his midlife crisis into a bloody corporate empire, selling his therapy sessions to middle-aged Americans who think depression comes with a catchy beat. The vicious critique allegedly circulated through British rock circles within hours. What truly infuriated Hynde wasn't just Collins' commercial dominance, but his complete abandonment of musical risk-taking. While Hynde continued pushing boundaries with aggressive punk rock that challenged social norms, Collins was building his fortune with what Hynde reportedly called emotional elevator music, sanitized personal confessions that, in Hynde's confrontational philosophy, represented the ultimate betrayal of rock music's rebellious spirit. When you turn your divorce into easy listening background music, you've missed the entire point of what music can accomplish. The feud allegedly reached its breaking point during a charity concert where witnesses claim Hynde refused to perform on the same bill as Collins, reportedly telling organizers about her unwillingness to validate what she saw as the complete neutering of popular music. 3. Rick Springfield. Storming into number 3 is a rivalry that epitomized the war between genuine rock credibility and teen idol manufacturing. Rick Springfield, the Australian actor turned rock star with his soap opera fame and heartthrob status, reportedly became Chrissie Hynde's most loathed symbol of everything fake about 1980s rock stardom.
I'm an advanced copy, and he said, "This is going to do it. This one's going to do it." Because he died twice. He died when...
The animosity allegedly erupted during Springfield's peak popularity in 1981, when he was simultaneously starring on General Hospital and topping charts with Jesse's Girl. According to Rolling Stone correspondent Kurt Loder, Hynde reportedly unleashed her contempt on fellow rockers at a New York punk club. Rick thinks playing a doctor on television qualifies him to diagnose what's wrong with rock music. The man's entire career is built on teenage girl fantasies and soap opera acting, not genuine musical talent or authentic life experience. The savage assessment allegedly spread through underground music scenes faster than a 3-chord punk anthem. What absolutely disgusted Hynde wasn't just Springfield's dual career success, but his complete lack of street credibility. While Hynde had fought tooth and nail to establish herself as a serious musician in male-dominated rock, Springfield was achieving fame with what Hynde reportedly called daytime television rock. Manufactured rebellion that, in Hynde's unforgiving worldview, made a mockery of everything real musicians struggled to accomplish. The hatred allegedly became personal during a backstage encounter where witnesses claim Springfield attempted to introduce himself to Hynde, only to be met with icy silence and a reported comment about refusing to acknowledge television personalities masquerading as rock musicians. 2. Pat Benatar burning into number 2 is the most shocking female rivalry revelation on our list. Pat Benatar, the powerhouse vocalist herself,
we belong together, yeah, yeah.
allegedly became the target of Chrissie Hynde's deepest professional jealousy and feminist fury, despite both women breaking barriers for female rock performers during the same era.
And Jimmy Page had together, or Keith and Mick. I wanted that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
1970s, when both Hynde and Benatar were establishing themselves as prominent female voices in male-dominated rock music. According to hit parader journalist Jeff Ginsburg, Hynde reportedly confided her frustration to punk scene allies at a Cleveland club. Pat thinks putting on leather pants and belting out power ballads makes her some kind of female rock pioneer. She's just giving male record executives exactly what they want from women in rock: safe rebellion wrapped in sexual packaging for teenage boys. The bitter comments allegedly revealed Hynde's complex feelings about female representation in rock music. What truly ate at Hynde was Benatar's mainstream acceptance and approach to female rock stardom. While Hynde was fighting to be taken seriously as a songwriter and musician on her own terms, Benatar was achieving massive success with what Hynde reportedly called male fantasy feminism, empowering anthems that in Hynde's uncompromising view still catered to male expectations rather than challenging them. The rivalry reportedly turned deeply personal when both women were constantly compared in music magazines, with industry insiders claiming Hynde became increasingly resentful that Benatar received mainstream acceptance while Hynde faced constant battles for credibility and respect. 1. Sting. Taking the top spot in our countdown is the ultimate artistic betrayal that rocked the music world's foundation. Sting, the former Police frontman himself,
I was very successful dance, electronic dance music, and so he has an audience.
Allegedly became Chrissie Hynde's most despised musician through a combination of what she saw as pretentious intellectualism, jazz fusion sellout behavior,
I dream of gardens in the desert, I wake and pray, yeah,
and shameless abandonment of punk rock principles that originally defined his career. The feud's origins allegedly trace back to the early 1980s, when both the Police and the Pretenders emerged from the same British new wave scene with shared punk influences. According to Musician magazine editor Bill Flanagan, Hynde reportedly told fellow punk veterans at a London pub, "Gordon thinks reading a few books about tantric sex and world music makes him some kind of artistic genius. He's forgotten that punk was about working-class anger, not upper-class pretension disguised as global consciousness." The devastating assessment allegedly split the entire British alternative music community. The breaking point reportedly came when Sting launched his solo career with jazz-influenced albums and intellectual lyrics about literature and spirituality. The animosity reached legendary proportions during the mid-1980s when both artists represented opposite directions for post-punk music. Industry veterans claim Hynde became obsessed with exposing what she saw as Sting's intellectual fraud, allegedly saying at a private musician gathering, "The difference between Sting and real artists is that we stayed true to our working-class origins." The final destruction reportedly came during a 1987 music industry award ceremony, where witnesses claim Sting dismissed punk rock as primitive music for angry children, prompting Hynde to allegedly declare him the most successful betrayal of punk principles in British music history. And there you have it. The 6 musicians who reportedly made Chrissie Hynde's punk rock blood boil with rage. Which betrayal cut the deepest? Drop your outrage below. Smash that subscribe button for more brutal music feuds.